Okay, so thank you everyone for making the effort to come on the Wednesday. It's nice that we're not failing at the first hurdle in the groups disbanding already. So for anyone who's actually following on YouTube, you'll notice this is session 3, not session 2, which is a bit weird because we had audio problems. So last week we suddenly started to find that Blackwater Creek isn't everything that it is appearing to be. We continued on at Jarvie Farm where the strangeness begun and the animals went crazy. You you saved Mr. Jarvie from being eviscerated by Brutus, the big boar, on his farm.
I shot a pig.
You shot a pig. However, we did witness one of their farm hands die by choking on black bile, and the next morning you guys started to make your way through Blackwater Creek, saw more strangeness in the town with the children, and then decided to come to the dig site. And at the dig site, you managed to start moving some earth, getting quite far into it, and we last left the session realizing that the bones that you found in the dig site were essentially very mutated and deformed, and not just through the black fire that you worked out that had gotten rid of whoever they were. So that is where we start our session at the dig site after I believe Evelyn has just understood the extent to which these bones are very deformed.
I'm trying to get back into it. I'm like, yeah.
I walked back into town, didn't I? That's
Yeah,
where
you went to go
that's
get
where I was.
water.
I went to go get water, some kind of drink for you guys.
Supplies.
I'm just
Probably, yeah.
waiting for somebody to tell me to stop digging because that's the only roll I passed last week. I'm halfway to China, gentlemen. I'm halfway to China.
I can't remember. Why did I go back over to check again? So I remember I went over the first time.
I made you come over to take the shovel because my digging was atrocious.
Yeah,
and I was like, I'm just gonna go into town and get a drink, right?
And then Charles found the first set of bones, and that's when I found it was blackened.
Yeah.
And then I can't remember why I made the second roll.
So you made a medicine check just to look more at them and sort of discover, I suppose, more around the blackened. What's done the blackened? Was it disease? Was it anything else? And you sort of notice there's sort of incredible sort of nodules and deformities in the bone itself, which looks very strange.
Cool. Well, the best way to stop Charles from digging will probably be to tell him that there are odd tumor-sized nodules and stuff on all of these bones and point them out.
Yeah.
So you can go insane and love it.
Yeah. So you sort of, as this is pointed out, you can see like the skulls are incredibly misshapen, so much so that they barely look human. Long femurs are sort of either incredibly shrunken or long. There's all these nodules and growth sort of all over the bones as you sort of got further into them. And each one's individual, sort of, there's no kind of consistency or pattern to them. They're quite erratic in their how they differ from each other.
So, Evelyn, obviously you have some medical expertise. How could this have happened? Is this a colony where people were sent, or did it happen?
I can't think of anything rational at this moment. I'm sure it'll probably be related to the disease that's no doubt in the water. Maybe we should wait for Obadiah to get back. And actually, I was going to say we should go up to Blackwater Creek, but do you have to have the time on you, Charles?
I don't know. Do I have? Yes. I have a watch. I definitely have. Yeah, I definitely have a watch.
So as you sort of flick open your little pocket watch from inside your jacket, you can see that it is sort of starting to approach midday at this point. You left quite early from Jarvie Farm, and after this time it's sort of getting on to sort of just after afternoon.
All right, so we got plenty of time to walk up to Blackwater Creek.
Sure.
Would it be an idea to maybe have a look around here while we're waiting for Obadiah to get back? If there's anything else we can... Well, I'm just thinking we're at the dig site and we've dug up quite a few things. Let's see if there's anything else around, any monuments, broken down statues.
Sure.
If you do
Um,
that, then come to me if you find anything. I'll continue to put the soil back into the hole and try and make it look like it's undisturbed. But I don't really want the crazy weird locals getting wind that we're redigging the dig site.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got very angry at the
Um,
last.
let's just think. Evelyn, could you roll a history check, and I'll let you have advantage with Charles supporting you.
Cool. 2 seconds. Oh, I'm supposed to do the other.
Okay.
Fine.
So, even before kind of as you're sort of expecting, and you're looking at like the meta, sort of thinking about what might have caused it, kind of rationalizing everything that might have done this. The two of you look at each other and you're kind of like, probably more so Charles than yourself, that sort of about a character sort of John Merrick from overseas, and you sort of understand that kind of, this was someone who had horrible deformities, and this is kind of the only thing that maybe you could rationalize this to, some sort of, elephantism of sort of the growths in the bones and thinking like that. Charles, you're kind of a lot more curious and know that,
Yeah.
this is nothing like that. This is something certainly different, but you're not sure what.
Yeah. So Evelyn, what do you think it is?
I mean, I was gonna say elephantism, but
No.
a group of people all having the same condition, such a rare condition like that, I don't know. I definitely think we were gonna need more answers up in Blackwater Creek. Whatever's in that water was causing the boar to go crazy, and the black bile of that farmhand, and then whatever was in that jar with the kid's head in it. I don't know. Something definitely isn't right here, but
No, I mean, I completely agree that there's something's very wrong. I think this whole situation seems a bit off kilter. I mean, knowing as well my friend, the fact that he's disappeared and not there, he's just a very sane man. He wouldn't have just taken off, and then speaking to people at the farm and now finding what we're here. Surely there's a bigger thing happening, and we need to. I feel that I need to look into what's going on around us and see what's going on here, because I think it's more than meets the eye.
yeah, I'm definitely looking for something to put the pieces together. At the moment, we just have lots and lots of different symptoms, as it were. They're all lots of clues, but there's nothing joining everything. There's no the problem isn't really presenting itself. Just these locals aren't really going to help us as well, which is a bit annoying. You would have thought asking around and these guys knowing everything about the area would be really helpful, but yeah, and just the prior parties really put me off asking them more anything, apart from obviously the Jarvis, because they seem like wonderful people.
They do. They seem very, very nice. Did you see last night? You seemed really, really out of sorts. Perhaps not as much as me, but
I didn't go searching cabinets. Let's put it that way.
No. Do you feel that links to what we're looking at here?
I don't know. I'm not entirely sure yet. There's definitely the connection between the mother thing and people going insane. But here we have right in front of us a bunch of people with odd tumor-looking growths on them from, I don't know, 200 years ago or something like that. We've got I don't know how we connect mother to tumors at this point, apart from maybe the disease or maybe multiple diseases that are coming from the water. I don't know.
It's amazing how the mind can affect the body.
Yeah, we'll have to go get some evidence. I think maybe have a look around the dig site. I'll try and put the soil back in and make it look like we haven't touched it, and hopefully Obadiah comes back and he can look around because he's no good with a shovel.
Huh.
Sadly, you would have thought so. Such a big, strong mechanic. Just
He's not strong.
shut up, you.
I'm very surprised they didn't have a device to dig for us.
Yeah, I know. Just could have created something. Anyway, yeah, let's go do that. I think because we just need more clues. Just find something. Because at the moment, I'm just seeing a dig site, a very interesting dig site, and probably why they're here. But I don't. Like I said, it's an interesting dig site. They would be around here, surely. Well, what's caused them to leave? If they're like, this is super interesting, they have like, you could spend ages on this, and
Yeah.
they've all buggered off.
To me, it looks. I mean, obviously, it is a grave site, but do you feel that maybe this could be linked to the story that we were told by McTavish?
Oh, 100%. I
Kid.
mean, they're all blackened, and almost certainly burnt, just like the story said. Although he didn't really mention the tumor growths, though, which is, you would have thought that would be a defining feature of people. But who knows? I definitely want to check out the dam, or the water at least. And then I definitely want to check out this cave where it's supposed to be blocked up, and the last sort of known
Well,
thing.
we still need to get to the campsite as well.
I've got that as well.
Yeah. I think going there we might find something as well. The campsite might be a good place to go while it's still light too, because we don't want to miss anything that is there.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But yeah, that's
Okay.
And I definitely don't want to be out in the dark.
And
yeah.
Obadiah, I think we agreed last week. By the time you came back, you came back with some tins of spam and a bit of bread, and bottled water for everyone, and everyone had a hunger and thirst quenching dry sandwich.
Sure.
What are you doing whilst these guys are talking?
So I didn't bring any liquids when I went to the shop last time, so I literally just walked back into town, back into Baxter's store, kind of looked around for what drinks they have available that are in bottles that are clearly not locally sourced water.
Sure. So you managed to find, there are bottled waters, and it takes a little bit of time to sort of look on the back of some of the labels and find out where they've come from. And you can see some that aren't from anywhere near here. There are also, some bottled Coca-Cola and things like that.
Sure. I just grab basically as much as I can carry.
Sure.
So I'm just like,
okay.
And I just like wander up to the thing and I put them all down and look at I assume his name is Baxter. I'm like, I have these, please.
Back again so soon, and he's still working on the same crossword.
I see you took my advice there. Good words.
Like a hint of frustrations, and sort of you can see sort of the colour in his cheeks begin to rise, and it's sort of $3, and then you can go.
I just immediately give him $3, and I'm like, "A fine day to you, sir."
And he kind of like tips his pencil, but nothing more.
You got a bag?
And he sort of pulls up sort of like a paper grocery bag, sort of puts it all into one, puts it all into two because it's so heavy, and then sort of doesn't really push them even across the counter towards you.
Sure. I pick them up and I take them outside the store, and then I just walk back my way.
Yeah. Okay.
Get back to everybody and hand out bottled water.
Okay, so you've been away for about 45 minutes.
Cool. I just get back and I'm like, I got the water for you. It's not local, I promise. You found anything good while I've been gone?
Well, that depends on your definition of good.
I mean, did you find them?
Oh yeah, there's some dead people down there for sure. Looks like they've all been looks like they've all been burnt, and weirdly enough, they've all got tumor-like growths all over their bones.
Well, that's nice. I wasn't really meaning dead people in a grave. I was hoping you might have found our dear Tarry here, because I don't think we are very welcome here, and I really do not think we should stick around.
Yeah, well, we didn't find anyone living, sadly. Just the dig site.
We have been talking about what we need to do next. There's several places on the map that we need to see. Going to the dam could be important because of the lovely incident with the worm. And, if this is a disease, then there could be answers there. And we still haven't been to the cave or to the Rhodes campsite. My personal thoughts is the campsite might be better now, where it's fairly light and we can see what's going on around. But what do you guys think?
I mean, I'm happy to follow your lead. Where is the campsite?
Further down the road.
It's kind of, yeah.
Sure. And as you're kind of discussing things, there's a kind of a as like a crow flutters down and lands on the bridge, sort of just behind Obadiah as he's returned, and you can see it kind of cocking its head and sort of watching you quite intently. Let me have a look. Who's got the highest listen roll?
I believe that's Charles.
I'm looking.
That might be terrible.
I have 20. It's not a good one.
Also 20.
Is 20 the standard? Because
20 is the standard.
Yeah. Oh, I've got
Evelyn's
50.
got 50. Evelyn, can you make a listen roll? Okay.
All I do is get under 10 today.
That's brilliant, though.
Yeah.
So you kind of notice, and it's quite strange that for the first time as you've heard the crow, even though it's daylight and it's quite quiet around here, it's deathly quiet. There are no sounds of wildlife coming from the woods just in front of you. Barely even the breeze moving through the trees.
Is that sudden or just it's always been quiet?
Well, it's only now just occurred to you.
Okay. I will. Alright, are the others just standing close to me?
Yeah, you're
you
all just
guys
talking around
cool.
the bridge side.
Like, guys, have you noticed how quiet those the woods over there are? Doesn't sound like there's anything in it at all.
I had not.
And as this is raised to you, almost kind of much as when someone points out the sound of lights humming, it's kind of like a suddenly, oh, there is an actual kind of dearth of sound here, and it's suddenly you realise sort of just how quiet it is.
I see. This is a little disconcerting. Is not nature usually a bit noisier than this?
Yes. Very much so. However, if the water is really causing a problem and maybe killing animals, then it would make sense that all the wildlife would be dead. Interestingly, the trees are obviously not, but you could maybe rationale it that way.
At that point in time, would I be able to literally go up and have a look at one of the trees?
Yeah. describe to me where you're going.
So like if the dig site is where we're standing, I'm literally just going up to like these trees here, immediately at the edge of the dig site.
Sure. Okay. So they're very large trees. I suppose if you got like a nature roll.
I do, but it's not good. Yeah.
Okay. So these are, you can't tell what kind of trees these are, but they're incredibly large. It's very, very thick, and light doesn't seem to be coming through the woods. So I suppose at this moment you can work out that it's quite dense.
Sure.
But for all you can see, they're quite healthy.
Sure. I just turn back to you guys and I'm like, I mean, they just look like trees to me, but it's not really my area of expertise.
Cool. Are there any tree stumps nearby that we can see?
Not presently.
Okay. Yeah, maybe a good idea for us to keep an eye out for tree stumps. Maybe fallen trees or ones where we can like inspect the inside or maybe peel bark off easily or something like that. Might give us a clear indication if the water and the disease is affecting the trees at all.
Sure.
But if not, I guess maybe we should tidy stuff up here, take another look around, and then head to the campsite.
Agreed.
I feel that going to the campsite is probably the most important thing we can do today.
Cool. Before we put the soil back in, I really want to walk up to the collection of bones that we dug, and I want to try and guess roughly how many people, how many people these bones belong to, basically. It might be pretty difficult, but yeah, I guess if it's 2, then it might be interesting, and if it's like 500 or like 100 or 50 or something, then it's
Sure.
definitely the people from before.
How are you working this out, Evelyn? How are you trying to...
Looking for identical bones, I guess.
Okay.
Off the top of my head.
Okay.
Being not an archaeologist myself, I would guess that you just search for multiples of the same type of bone, not flipped, or maybe there's like one bone that's only like present in like, I don't know, the pelvic bone or something. Like,
Okay.
You know.
Are you
counting as much as possible.
so you're just counting, you're not getting them out and moving them, you're...
I'd rather just count them if they're seated there. Mainly because I don't want to get all the bones out and then have some random person from the town come by and go, "Oh my god! Not only are they, digging it up, but they're taking them out."
Okay. So it's really difficult to tell. I'm trying to think what would be a good role for this. Potentially medicine again.
Can I assist with this? Because at the very least I can count how many skulls I can see.
Of course, yeah.
Why did I not think of skull?
Do a medicine with advantage.
Oh, sorry, medicine, right?
Yeah, with advantage.
Is that the white one, the advantage part?
You'd normally just get an extra dice. I'm not sure. I haven't pressed that white one yet.
I'm gonna press the white one. Oh, the white one does lots of things.
Oh,
No,
okay,
not
so
the
you
white
get
one.
one extra dice, so it'd be a success on the +1.
Okay, do you need me to roll again? I haven't actually looked at what I rolled.
So you got 67, but you're normally 60, but because the +1 dice, it worked out that it would have been under.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure.
So, yeah, so kind of going together, you're just sort of counting every now and again, moving things with the shovel, and inherently it feels quite disrespectful. It feels quite, wrong to be doing this, but at the same time, you need to do it. So in total, you count that there's at least sort of 4 or 5 things that resemble heads, various different pelvises. And I suppose you know that there's sort of a minimum of kind of about 6 people.
That's fine. It was just making sure that we didn't end up with 2, and these were the remains of the people we were looking for.
Yeah.
That's fine. More than happy to leave it at that and then start tidying stuff up, I guess.
Okay.
If that's happy with everyone else.
Yeah.
So it's sweaty work. It takes probably to get it looking decent, at least half decent, get everything back in and pat it down, maybe 20-25 minutes to get it sort of looking reasonably as it was. It does look like it's been disturbed recently.
There's not much we can do about that, I guess.
I
Put
think-
some flowers on it.
Yeah, maybe we start heading towards the campsite then. Do you know what? I think nobody's going to be doing much more than a cursory look anyway. Because why would they? A hole in the ground's a hole in the ground if it's filled in, and that's what they're expecting, unless they're really, really expecting us to dig things up.
Yeah, it's the locals, I guess. I might suggest taking the shovels with us for use later, or maybe we need to deal with another boar.
Sure. I'll take one of the shovels if you want me to carry one.
Charles, you want to take the other one?
I will take the other one, yes.
For I am feminine and ladylike.
I hand out the rest of the drinks as well.
Okay.
We should probably replenish our liquids before we head on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Replenish my liquids.
Okay. And it's nice. It's refreshing, kind of. It doesn't taste like normal tap water. This is, some nice mineral water. And after all that kind of hard work, it's nice that your tongue isn't now stuck to the roof of your mouth. So as you start to walk up the road, it is, getting on past sort of 1:30 in the afternoon, and the heat is quite sweltering. The road is reasonably dusty, and there's a distinct lack of breeze. And just thinking, as you kind of...
Are we going to walk up along the road, or are we going to walk up along the tree line? Because if you still want to look at the tree, if you still want to look at the trees, we should probably walk along the tree line.
I agree. I think it's a good idea if you wanted to.
I mean, have you ever seen a man hit by an automobile? It's not a pretty sight.
Also, keep
would
us
not
away
want to
from
be.
the locals as well.
Sure, as long as they're not in the woods, I suppose.
I mean, if they are, then we kind of want to know about it. Maybe we can gather what they're doing in there.
Of course. Then let's walk along the tree line, shall we?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. So it's a little bit slower as you watch your pace, and the trees provide some nice shade as a tiny bit of respite from the heat. And as you kind of get further and further up, the grass, as you're sort of coming around the edge of the woods, gets longer and longer, and it looks like it's really not been used. Sort of going up the side of the hills, so much so that it starts to slow you down. It's distinctly tall, and it's irritating sort of on the back of your arms and as you're walking through. Evelyn on your legs from sort of wearing a dress, it's irritating at best. Could all three of you make a hard spot hidden roll?
Oops, sorry, I've just thrown a million dice there.
That's okay.
Nice. Come on, Joe.
I failed.
No,
man.
Joe failed.
I failed.
All right.
But what's interesting... yeah, okay. That wasn't... I was just for a second, I was like, why is it saying you passed when you didn't meet that number? But that's extreme. I just had like a massive brain fart. So it takes a bit of time as you sort of move your way through. What's kind of like the marching order?
I'll be first. Obadiah's up front, and I'm just
Guess
stomping my way through the grass, just like making as much of a path as possible for everybody. Especially since I'm like in a duster coat and I've got like trousers on, and I'm probably the least affected by this grass, so I am just kind of like stomping down as much as I possibly can.
Okay.
With my history of having to go find people, I guess I'd go towards the back.
Yeah.
Just like a automatic sort of reaction.
Okay. So as you're starting to look, what you can see, you start to notice sort of the back of something that distinctly stands out from the kind of the same old canvas of the grass, and you can see the corner of a truck just up ahead.
Whereabouts are we?
You're probably just sort of edging on there at the minute.
Okay. Sorry. So we're at this location, and we can see a truck maybe near where the campsite would be.
Yeah.
Okay. Does it look like there's anyone around the truck, or?
At the moment, you can just see the corner of a truck.
I'm gonna put my hand on Obadiah's shoulder, and then Obadiah, looks like there's a truck up ahead. I'm not sure if I don't know, maybe get a better view of it before we go.
Would we hear the engine if it's on? Because there's no sounds from nature around, and in the 1920s, I'm guessing that engines were pretty loud.
Yeah. Feel free to roll a listen.
Okay. I'm going to hear nothing whatsoever.
Oh man, I failed.
At the moment, it's so much noise coming from the grass that you can't really hear.
Cool.
I noticed the truck if it's pointed out to me.
Yeah.
Can I roll something like a mechanics check, or a what would it be? It wouldn't be mechanical repair. It would be just like, I don't know. Can I roll a check to see if I would recognize what kind of vehicle it is?
Yeah, go for it.
What would that come off? There's not really a identify vehicle check.
Sure. We'll go with. You just to double check on. You haven't got anything in the other skills. Fighting, electronics, firearms.
Engineering, physics, and art craft drawing.
Drive auto, maybe.
I'd probably
maybe if you drive it well, you can know them.
I'd probably go with engineering. I think.
Engineering. Where's engineering?
Oh, I thought you said that you've got it in your other skills.
Oh no, I've got science engineering. Yeah. Okay.
Push.
No. Don't know what that covers.
At the moment, you can't see enough of it to see what it is. All you can see is that there's sort of like wooden slacks, sort of as a corner of it.
Okay.
So some kind of pickup thing. Can I
just
we have to get closer, right?
Yeah, I'm just gonna start making my way directly towards it, like unless you guys stop me.
We don't really have an option, right? I'm not seeing I'm really not seeing a way. I mean, we could walk near the trees, carry on, like going through this dip or something, rather than coming along the road, which is probably what they expect.
Yeah.
But, I mean, apart from that,
they've been unpleasant to us. They've not been aggressive and violent.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would.
I
would ask them what if it is not just the Henry's truck, then we can approach them and talk to them about what's going on.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm happy to just basically walk straight up to it.
Okay. So kind of as you get to a point almost where the grass starts to thin and it looks like it's a slight clearing. Not massively so, but it's certainly better than it was walking through what you were. And the first thing you see is that the truck has been clearly burnt out. It's a old sort of T model Ford kind of truck, but it has been blackened. The windows have sort of broken out, suspectably from the fire. And sort of there are a number of tents sort of scattered on the floor which are torn, and none of them are standing anymore.
Can we see what's inside the truck? Is it like an enclosed one, or is it like a flatbed?
No, it's a flatbed, and you can sort of see just over by leaning over it. There are certainly some objects in it, but you can either make a archaeology or a hard education roll.
Okay.
What a fun vehicle to be so hatefully destroyed. Very disappointing.
I guess I'm going to make an education roll because my archaeology is terrible.
Rubbish.
I too am gonna look in the back of this truck.
You're not entirely sure what these objects are.
Can I also roll education, or?
Yeah.
Okay, how did I fail that? It's 84 was all I needed.
You're doing it, Ed.
So.
No, you don't even know what an object is at this moment in time.
Yeah.
No, I'm too distraught by the destruction of the car. I'm just like, this is unacceptable behavior for such a fine piece of engineering. I cannot believe that anyone would set a light to such a fine thing.
Can I?
Look, they didn't even clear out the back, and there's just added detritus to the pickup. Such fine craftsmanship. Look at what it must have looked like. This fine wood, this fine paintwork would have been. And look, it's come to this, some kind of vehicular graveyard in the woods. I'm disgusted by these people.
I might point. I'm going to point out, Obadiah, that you can't really have a graveyard of one.
I mean,
it's more like a tent graveyard.
I don't even start me on what is and what isn't a graveyard. This is a site that should be a respected place from here on out. None of them dead people in that pit deserve almost as much respect as this fine vehicular death knell. I don't even know. This should be an obelisk to everything that is right with the world. Look at it. It's not. It's just some kind of detritus in the grass, forgotten by those who should love something. It breaks my heart, frankly. It breaks my heart.
I'm gonna go look inside the van.
Okay.
After all this crap he did.
Yeah, I'm kind of, yeah.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Okay.
I mean, don't you dare touch it. It deserves better than your hands, woman.
So as you're kind of looking over, you know, there are a multitude of objects in the back of this truck. They vary in size and shape, predominantly made of, I suppose, different types of wood and metal. But for the life of you, it looks like they're too burnt to identify what they are.
What do we see around us at the campsite then? I mean, is there any evidence that there's someone still there?
So there are essentially just tattered tents that have sort of been torn down. There is a campfire in the center, but it looks long, like it was used quite significantly ago. There is barely even any ash left in, as it looks like the wind has blown away anything that was there. There's I suppose two main tents that you can see that have been sort of torn down.
I'm going to go over and have a look at the tents to see if there's anything inside the tents that may have been left behind, because I'm assuming from how it looks it's been ripped down. I'm going to say in a hurry, but do you know what I mean? It's a fit of violence rather than it's been kept painstakingly taken down. It's been it's been firebombed and ripped up and everything else. So there might be something still in there.
Sure. Just for our sort of intelligence sake, do you want to make a natural world roll? A lot of rolls today.
Natural world roll is of 10.
Do it.
Yeah, this is where I pass hard.
Okay. Unfortunately not.
I don't know. I don't nature. Sorry.
It's tough to distinguish the amount of time that people haven't been here for.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't forget, I suppose one thing that we haven't been doing is that you can also describe to me how you want to push rolls if you come up with a legitimate way of how you're doing it. Yeah. Because we've had some close ones.
Completely not really caring about the tents at this point in time, like transfixed by this Ford Model T, beautiful piece of engineering. Obadiah like falls to his knees and like has a moment where he questions whether or not he can possibly even check the tires, and like starts brushing away the grass if there's grass next to it to see how the tires are.
Okay. So it looks like three of them are still intact, and it looks like one on the backside where there's considerable more amount of damage to the back of the truck bed. It looks like one's kind of burst and has melted slightly under the heat.
Sure. I at this point in time, I guess I would just stand up and check the vehicle over properly for like a jack to start taking off a tire or something.
Okay. So you're reasonably familiar with where jacks and the like are kept within these kind of cars, and I suppose it takes some time to sort of get the door open, and sort of underneath the passenger side, you can find it sort of wedged underneath in its kind of little cubby space where it's meant to be kept.
Sure. Like I pull it out. I start like jacking up the car and search. As I realize moments later, I don't actually have anything to undo the bolts.
Okay.
At which point in time, I look at everybody else and I'm like, I believe I might need some other kind of tool here. Let me just have a quick look around. Did you find anything over in those tents there?
I'm kind of still rummaging around the tents, but I don't think I've seen anything really.
Okay.
Greg, do you want me to make a roll to see if I find anything in the tents?
So there are two tents, kind of one on sort of further away from the truck and one slightly closer. Which one would you like to go to?
The one nearest the truck.
The one nearest to the truck. Okay.
Yeah.
So bearing in mind, I guess it's kind of like fallen and collapsed down with very little still holding off the ground. How are you going to go about looking through it? Think of these as kind of almost like yurty wigwam kind of things.
What I would be doing is kind of... Are we looking at like the old style scout tents?
Yeah,
it's kind of,
yeah, like that.
It's the square framey type things and everything else that way around the front. It's triangular still.
Yeah.
I'd look for the entranceway that I don't do any zips or whatever that way
Okay.
around, and I'd be opening up and I'd be rubbing my hands across the floor.
Okay.
To see if there's any objects inside it.
Okay.
Anything that I find, I'd be bringing out.
Okay. So it takes you a second. So it's kind of held together by like toggles on a rope, and you sort of undo them, and there are quite a few. And as you sort of put your arms underneath, the grass is considerably cooler underneath, and you start to find with your hands you can sort of come across a couple of items, and you pull out some clothes, and you pull out a few little knickknacks, really. The odd pen, and some other sort of assortment of personal belongings, from sort of small bits of jewellery to kind of everyday items like a flask.
I suppose what I'd be looking for in there as well is maybe a journal of what's been going on. So I'm assuming there's nothing in that one. So if there's nothing in that one, I'll go search the other one to see if there's anything to well.
Okay, so as you
Because we
kind of
don't- yeah.
as you put your hands on it just to see if there's any last bits. Nothing. You don't seem to find anything.
Okay.
What type of clothes were they, male or female?
They're an assortment of both. Mainly kind of field kind of clothes, that sort of classic khaki look. But you notice they're two sort of distinct different sizes.
And that's just in the one tent, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So that's probably where they both slept. Which begs the question what the other one was for. The question I was going to ask before I exploded and left was, having been from the university, or maybe Obadiah can help, do we recognize the truck as being a university, maybe the type that the university would use, or...
Yeah, I suppose these are pretty familiar around on, reasonably familiar on campus. You know that they have some, but not in abundance. Yeah, it wouldn't be a far-fetched leap to think that this was part of the universities.
And is it super easy to get into the back of the truck, or...
You could lift
'cause
yourself
before we
into
were
it.
Okay. I might... how dirty is it look?
It's very charred.
Cool. I might... Obadiah, would you mind hauling yourself into the back and maybe retrieving some of these burnt items? Before, when we were looking down from the top, it was quite difficult to see what they were, but I think maybe getting them in our hands and being able to touch it might remind me what they're for.
I mean, give me 2 seconds and I'll take down the jack, I suppose. I was gonna get in there and look for a what's it called? A thing.
A
I don't
wrench.
do this.
A
You're the
wrench.
mechanic.
I designed the things. I don't do the things. I was looking for a socket wrench. Yeah, that's the one.
I mean,
I know these things.
you can fight, get in there afterwards. It's fine. I can go help Charles with searching the tents.
I take down the jack.
Okay.
Because if I'm going to get up there, I'm not going to do it while it's jacked up.
I'm saying you could get your thing and then...
It's fine. I need the socket wrench to get the wheels off. Otherwise, I'm just jacking this thing up for no reason. I take it down and I climb up on top of the back of the thing and I start looking primarily for a socket wrench. But I guess I'll be moving the stuff. If
Okay.
that counts as me pushing the roll for looking.
So you're taking a closer inspection of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you can make a education hard roll.
I probably still can't. Just a
Oh.
success.
Unfortunately not.
Can I use archaeology?
20.
If you want to get your hands dirty and have a look at them.
I mean, I will take them off of Obadiah. I am not going to
Yeah.
get in there.
Can I, as I'm looking through, I don't think Obadiah would be particularly careful because if he's not spotting anything worthwhile and it's not a socket wrench, he would probably just be tossing it out the back. If that makes sense.
Sure.
Aye.
Okay. So, Evelyn, it's distinctly hard to work out what they are, but after sort of getting up close with it and having them in your hands, you start to notice, actually, this is probably some of the tools that they might have used at the dig site.
Okay. Man, that was just...
While that's happening, then I'm kind of going around the rest of the campsite and just looking for signs of distress. I'm kind of using it based on the history of, obviously being in places where there's been a war going on, and being in charge of trying to find people and things. So it's just looking for those signs of struggle and the type of signs that somebody has been moved or that somebody's gone in a particular direction, just to see if I can figure out what's happened to the people here, because obviously there's certain things that you'd presume straight away. The truck's been firebombed out, everything's been ripped about, and maybe things have been taken, because there's things we'd expect to find here, like journals, written reports, maybe even photographs, depending on what technology they had at that time. I mean, I'm not expecting they've got Polaroids, but they might have the glass sheets,
flash bulbs and stuff. Yeah.
yeah.
So sorry, were you looking around the campsite or within the other tent? I missed. Where you...
I'll start off within the other tent, but
Okay.
the intention was just to these guys are busy. I'm kind of doing an inspection of things going on around them, paying close attention to things that should be there that maybe aren't.
Sure. So as you kind of go into the other tent, you put it over your head a little bit to get a better, let some light in and see. The smell of iron kind of wafts a little bit, and you can see splattered against some of the canvas is some dried blood. And underneath there are various kind of books and notes and sort of writing instruments knocking about. There is a very small sort of portable writing desk and sort of almost like a very small wooden stool.
Okay. Seeing the blood on there, does it look like it would be enough for somebody to be seriously hurt or killed, or is it just there's a bit, someone might have pricked the finger type of a thing?
Sure. I suppose because of your experience with kind of being in the war, I'll let you make a medicine with advanced kind of roll.
Okay, that's the white
but
dice.
But it's certainly not of the level of a finger prick. It is splattered.
Okay, so let's.
Okay, you really can't tell kind of what kind of damage this would have done to another person. All you know is that it is probably more than a cupful.
So yeah, I guess what I'm going to do then is take all the writing material out and everything else that way around, and sort of bring it into a space where I can look through it and see if it's what Henry's done himself or if it's just academia, if you like.
Okay. Are you starting to read? Are you?
I'm going through it to see if these are sort of published books that are there to help them in the field, or if it's Henry's own stuff about what's going on.
They are published books.
Right. And do the titles mean anything to me?
So in one book is called From Indian Tribes of Northeast by Nathaniel Chapman.
Okay.
And the other book is From Myths and Legends of Old Massachusetts by Oliver Stansfield.
I would naturally be drawn to the Myths and Legend book, so I think that's, if I'm going to read any of them with any type of cursory depth, if you like, from the fact I've only been there a couple of minutes.
Sure.
That's the one that I'm going to be looking at more.
Okay.
But I do turn around and
by Oliver Stansfield. One less sinister and undoubtedly less puzzling mystery of the Miskatonic Valley is the fate of the settlement known as Cade's Rest. Historical records show that the following hanging of Mary Dyer on Boston Common in 1620, a group of Quakers left Boston, fearing persecution at the hands of the Puritans. This group was led by the tailor Ezekiel Cade and included many of 10 other families. After some months of travel, they settled by the banks of the Miskatonic River, not far from the spot that would one day become Dunwich. While records from this point are scant, the folk story holds that the settlement thrived once Cade and his followers made contact with a local Indian tribe known as the People of the Black Earth. Where the tale turns to folklore is in the demise of the settlement. Some stories have the earth opening and swallowing the settlers whole. Others tell of them being snatched away by the devil himself. Even the more mundane details are contradictory, with some describing the discovery of empty homes on the site, and others saying that even the buildings had vanished. Given that there are mentions of Cade being spotted in Boston a few years later, the most likely explanation is that the settlers simply moved again, possibly spreading the rumours of their disappearance themselves to secure their privacy. Alternatively, they may have come into conflict with the Black Earth tribe and been killed. Regardless of the truth, the legend is a minor one at best.
So, you managed to go through that, and that should all be in your notes now if you want to have another look at it.
Seems much like the first book that we read about Cade's Rest.
Hmm.
Just sort of reiterating it.
Okay.
Whilst
Okay,
Charles has
moderate
been there,
success.
I think I'll have a look around the surrounding area. Did you say there was 2 main tents? Are there any more tents, or is it just?
Just those two.
That's interesting. Okay, I might have a maybe look at the nearby woods or something like that, and see if there's any obvious footsteps, maybe.
Okay.
See
Probably
if
gonna.
there's a path of them going somewhere, I guess.
Sure. Just thinking. So because of the length of the grass, just make a normal spot hidden roll.
Okay.
Okay. So I suppose it takes a considerable amount of time, but it looks as though there was really only one way in and one way out. But what you do kind of notice is that there, as you're looking around through the tall grass, you can see the glint of some water, which is quite strange considering that the where you were, the river was quite dried out. So there is definitely on the other side of the woods, you can see some kind of body of water. And further to this, you can see on the floor, glinting up, there is a wrench that has been discarded on the outskirts, so almost tossed into the grass, and it looks quite bloody on one end.
Okay. Charles, Obadiah, come over here. I think I found something interesting. And then I'll lead them over.
Found my socket wrench yet?
I think I found a wrench.
Ah, perfect. And I hop down. And I come over.
I kind of I walk over and kind of taking the sights as it's been presented to me.
Cool. And I'd be like, look, there's a wrench with some blood on it. Did either of you guys see blood, or?
Well, yes, in the second tent where I found the books that I've been telling you about, there was blood splatter on the wall. I don't know how much blood that person may have lost, and I don't know who the person who was injured was, but it seems like we may have found a weapon that links to it.
I see. I mean that blood will wipe right off, and then I can use it on the tires, I guess.
I mean, I don't know what else we're gonna do with it, but
I mean, we're not gonna hand it into the local police because I don't believe there are any.
I don't think they'd care. Maybe they even did it themselves.
Maybe.
Evelyn, have you anything with you? Maybe even one of the empty water bottles where we might be able to put some of the blood if you're wanting to do tests and things on it.
It's, I suppose, look at it.
Not now.
It's definitely not fresh enough.
Yeah.
It's kind of gone to that kind of black sort of deterioration.
Yeah, I don't think we can do anything with this, to be honest.
Sure.
Best we can do is maybe take the wrench with us.
Yeah, I think that might be an idea. I mean, Obadiah, do you want to keep the wrench for now?
I mean, I'm going to go use the wrench. Yeah, sure.
But that I see the body of water over there. That might be.
I guess that's Blackwater Creek. I presume I'm able to discern whether or not, like, how far away, given on the map, Blackwater Creek is. Is it likely to be the Blackwater Creek, or is it just a little pool?
It probably looks large enough for that. Sure.
Oh, okay, cool. That's fine.
Sure.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna be like, yeah, there's Blackwater Creek over there.
Sure.
Is it possible for you to kind of work out it? Like, is it Blackwater Creek that you've seen, or is there some other body of water between us and there? Is
that's what I just asked. Yeah. I was like,
you would assume that it was that.
Okay. We're not gonna start walking into pools of secret water.
I'm doing it. If I fall into a bit of water here, I'm gonna go shower immediately.
Cool. So you have just found a wrench on the floor covered in dried blood. and Evelyn has spotted that there is a body of water significantly far away through the grass.
I think it'd probably be a good idea to check over by that water. There seems to be no people here. No evidence of which direction they've gone, other than the fact that we found these items going on towards this. Maybe we should go and have a look, especially if you're interested in what's going on in the water, Evelyn.
Yeah, I think that's the best. I don't think we can get very much more out of this site. There's not really too much going on. As long as we got the books, which we can read at any point, and we know that someone was hit over the head with a wrench. So,
Well, maybe if we keep an eye out on the way around, there might be something else in the grass to say that this is the direction that people have gone in.
yeah, cool. You happy with that, Obadiah?
I mean, I would be feeling more comfortable if I could take the wheels off of this car and be able to place them back on mine. But at least I know they're here and I can come back and get them.
Yeah, no, we can do that on the way back. Actually, yeah, no, we just know they're here. Yeah, I was gonna because we're gonna have to carry them back through around town as well. It's probably not do that. So
No.
yeah, let's just go to this water.
Okay, which route are you taking?
Where is the water that we can see? Is it
So
like
you can kind
this
of
bit up here?
see, yeah, kind of like a where is the line tool? See, kind of. Oh, that didn't work. Yeah, like that.
Okay.
I don't see a line.
Neither do I.
No, red line not showing up.
Nope.
No.
Let's try this again.
Yeah,
There we go. I see a red line.
cool. But we can look at the map, maybe. I don't know. It's just more of like if there's not an obvious path that leads us towards the dam, then it's probably better to just follow the trees around.
Yeah.
We don't really want to get lost.
I see
How
a red-
dense is the trees at this point? Can we actually see through them, or would it just be it's trees?
It is incredibly thick and overgrown. It's near impossible to see through.
Well, let's walk around then.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Right. So follow that. So we're aiming to go along the trees, keeping an eye out, and we want to head towards the dam rather than any other parts.
Sure. Okay. So it's quite hard going. Again, the grass is particularly tough to walk through. Are you going in the same order as last time? Yeah. Okay. I suppose as you kind of start to get past. Oh, that is not what I wanted. Past. Nope. That again. Not what I wanted. Sorry, bear me 2 seconds. I'm on the wrong layer. As long as you sort of come around this corner, you can start to smell like the smell of rot in the air. It's quite thick. It's quite reasonably subtle, but it's kind of got that real kind of nastiness to it. Your sort of nose ruffles at the smell of it, but it's just there. And I suppose as you're going past sort of the woods, every now and again, I suppose you can hear sort of like a groan of the trees. Sort of a slight breeze has picked up. Yeah, and I suppose as you get further and further close, it's largely uneventful, but distinctly tiring to get through all of this.
Can I tell which direction the breeze is coming from? Is it coming through the woods, or is it coming from the hills, or?
It's kind of coming from sort of a easterly direction.
Okay.
Sort of maybe northeasterly.
Okay.
Yeah. So as you get closer and closer, you can see kind of the outskirts more of the creek itself, and you can see that lower into the entrance of the woods, it looks as though a man-made dam has been created, and it looks like it is siphoning off water somewhere. As you can see all around the dam, it looks as though the the foliage is much more dense, although it looks as though it's sort of also much more sick.
Sick or thick?
Sick.
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 So it definitely looks like there may be a disease going on in the water type thing.
Mm-hmm.
My personal thing is that we need to have a look at the dam itself, see what it's actually blocking off, and see if we can figure out either where the water's going to or why it's been dammed off.
Hmm.
Sure.
Do we know how long it's been dammed off for?
Again, we could have a look. I mean, it's Blackwater Creek, isn't it? So not Blackwater Dam, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So, so describe to me what you guys are doing then. How are you looking through this and investigating it?
Guess I'm just gonna walk along the tree line to the point where I can actually get to the man-made dam.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm following through. Obadiah, you're an engineer.
I am.
Maybe
It's almost like I know things about construction and things. I should possibly have a look at that there dam.
that was going to be my suggestion. And would you have an understanding of where the water will be running off to or siphoned off to?
I mean, if I see where it goes, I suppose I could possibly have an understanding. I'm not clairvoyant, though. I'll leave that to you.
Okay. So, roll kind of sort of an engineering sort of roll.
Roll engineering. Can I use my advantage dice on this one?
No.
No. I pass anyway.
Okay, so it looks like it's not exactly well constructed. It's definitely man-made. This isn't anything that perhaps a beaver or another type of animal would make. There's no mud sort of sticking it together, but it looks like these sort of tall, wide planks have sort of been put in, and it's not the best. Small water sort of leaks through, but it also looks as though it is siphoning it off eastwards, but you're not exactly sure where.
I would suspect it's being siphoned towards the farms. Maybe some kind of irrigation. I don't know.
It would look to be something like that. The water itself is very dark, it's mucky, and as you are coming into sort of maybe 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, the rays of sunlight that go down onto it, you can see that throughout the water there are small white little flecks that twitch in the current.
I believe that water is afflicted with the same condition that jar of water those young'uns had.
I was just about to suggest. I mean, we've got the bottles from the water that we drank. Is there any way of getting that in there without getting your hand into the water itself rather than the bottle?
Yeah. You can certainly try.
Pass me one of those bottles if you want some of that water.
Yeah, sure.
I'll pass it.
And I take the wrench as well, and I fix the wrench around the top of the bottle, so I can put the end of the wrench in.
Okay.
So it fills the bottle, and then I bring that back out.
Okay. Yeah. Go for it. Just roll a luck roll for me.
I can roll luck. Can I use my advantage dice here?
Your inspiration one. I forgot. I thought you were talking about a general advantage. My apologies. Yeah, you can use an extra. That'll be it for the. It'll burn it.
I'm also sure they do. I don't know how that works. So no, I don't pass. Is that correct? Because I would have needed +2 or something.
Yeah. So unfortunately not. So as you place the bottle sort of in, the current is reasonably strong, but as the bottle gets heavier and heavier and you're pulling it back out, it drops down into a splash.
Can I do a thing? Sorry. I needed to ask a mechanics question. So I've rolled luck here, but my second roll, I think, is that correct? My second roll was a 56. Is that how to read that?
Yeah.
So my first roll was a 79. My second roll was a 56. And so, can I spend 1 luck point to make that a pass on a 55 and go down to 54 luck? Because that's how luck works, right?
It is. The only odd thing about that is because usually you'd. So if we were doing it in physical dice, you would have had your normal 2 dice,
Mm-hmm.
and then you would have placed another dice, and you could have swapped the 10s out. So
Oh, you can only swap the 10s out.
yeah.
So would you not swap the 10 out for the 15?
Sorry, I'm talking about the units. The
Units.
Oh,
So I would have still been stuck with 70 something.
75. Yeah, 75 or
Okay.
76. So I don't know quite how that's working it out.
If it's 75 or 76, I'm not going to spend luck points on that.
Yeah.
It goes back in the water. Goodbye, bottle.
Okay.
We have 2 bottles, right? So you can do it again, I guess.
Can you make a flat dexterity check?
Me?
Yeah.
I mean, I can try. I can crit my
Okay.
dexterity check.
So as it goes down, it goes bloof, and the water that goes up, and you stand just far back enough that the water coming out doesn't hit you.
Watch for the splashback. I've been a man for many years, and we always have to watch for the splashback.
So you narrowly avoid a Poseidon's kiss, and as the water starts to settle again, it kind of has a multicolored sort of shimmering film over it. And it's definitely clear now that probably the smell of kind of that rotting fruit kind of smell is coming from here, or the water itself, I suppose.
Am I able to just try again with a second bottle and push my roll?
Yeah.
Yeah. I do that.
It's a bit
then.
hard.
Maybe just do it with the normal dice rolls rather than whatever.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna just make sure it's really affixed this time.
Yeah.
To the wrench, I'm gonna tie it with like a kerchief or something from my pocket, whatever I've got, basically. So
Okay.
make sure that it's on there.
Sure.
And then
then,
when you lift it out, drag it along. Don't lift it up so that the splashback doesn't.
Thank you, Evelyn. Thank you for your assistance there. I basically do what I'm told.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, and easily
That's how we do
the
it.
handkerchief has definitely made the difference, and you managed to pull it back out, and you can see that there are certainly some white flecks within this water as you put it on, but you recognise before your sort of instincts take hold of you, is as you put it on the floor, the outside of the bottle is definitely wet.
mhm. I don't touch the bottle. I just sit and kind of I watch it, kind of see if the water that's draining off the outside has the same kind of flecks in it or anything.
Yeah, there's
Um,
definitely some smaller flecks in there.
Okay. Hmm.
Do we have any more water or anything like that we could actually wash the outside of the bottle with?
I don't think so. Maybe I have a bottle of Coke that I also purchased from the store, but I don't think that's really gonna clean it. Perhaps.
I mean, it cleans other things. I mean, I don't know. You could always just.
I once heard about a man trying to strip an engine using Coca-Cola. What a fine gentleman he was.
We could just put the lid of the bottle on and then leave it, and then go have a look at other things, and it'll dry off.
Okay, most assuredly we can do that.
Can I have a look around to see if I can find a worm?
Yeah, I suppose. Especially by the edge of the dam, the sort of the edge of the water is reasonably softish dirt. Yeah, roll a luck.
Yeah, I'm going to fish it out with a stick rather than
Okay.
sticking my hand in it.
Was that your luck roll, or was that?
I've not rolled anything yet.
Ah, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm not that lucky.
Unfortunately, it's too difficult to find any.
I'm not
worms.
putting my fingers down in there anyway, so yeah, I'm kind of just prodding with a stick and there's nothing there.
I mean, you could permanently burn 18 points of luck, but
Yeah, I'm going to need that luck somewhere else, I think. So no, I won't burn that luck.
okay.
But yeah, so yeah, what well, I think we should have a look at the dam and around it. Maybe have a look at the other side of the dam, see what's going on in the creek. If there's anything of interest in the actual sort of river bed or creek bed that's dried on the other side.
Okay. So to do so, you'd have to sort of start walking into the woods ever so slightly. It's the air is kind of more stale, and it's definitely sort of very overbearing, and you can hear kind of creaking coming throughout the woods themselves. Where sort of very very distinctly around kind of the dam area, sort of the branches and the fronds are starting to turn a bit dark. There's ropey kind of tentacles going from tree to tree, and the bark itself is kind of splitting off, revealing a black pulpy mass underneath. Some of the roots themselves have started to pull up from the mass underneath, and the smell is kind of, it's less of fruit but more sort of a rotting kind of flesh, and you know this from the war, kind of the bodies that have been left out, and it's a very dank earth. Can you roll a spot hidden roll?
Certainly can. Oh, I must have spotted something.
Okay, so underneath kind of if you imagine the sort of trees and it goes around kind of the edges of what the creek would have been, almost it kind of grows over, and then there's almost like an undergrowth to it, and what you can see is that it's been disturbed. So looks as though something very large has been dragged through it, and there's a few long smears and spatterings of long dried blood.
Okay, well, I turn around and say, Obadiah, Evelyn, look what I've seen. I kind of encourage them to kind of have a look at what's going on. Is there a clear direction where this has gone in?
It is.
It's into the undergrowth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I see that without actually going in the water? Can I sort of stick my head under to see if there's where it's gone to?
Yeah. So it's dry. There's no water in here.
Okay.
It's kind of been pulled into more of the woodland, if that makes sense.
The left hand side or the right hand side?
To the side that you're on.
Okay.
And yeah, you can see the direction of it, but this range is almost too far in to see, and a bit too dark, overshadowed.
Yeah, I kind of say, well, I think we should go and investigate this a little bit further, because this seems to be where the injured person or the where something has happened. And if we need to find Henry and his wife, well, that's probably the places where they're going to be.
Cool. I say we bring the water with us instead of leaving it here to dry.
Suppose so. I'm not gonna leave it here.
Because if it does have those little flecks and stuff in it, it might be a potent weapon if we need to. If someone's been dragged away by the bow or something like that, or something even worse, then yeah, we probably are able to use the water slightly better.
By all means, I'll bring the water.
Cool. But we should make this quick-ish. If it looks like we're gonna go get lost, then
I think we'll give it half an hour. If it's nothing, we'll come back out and head back to the farm.
Cool. Let's do that.
I'm not against that plan. Let's crack on.
Okay. So as you sort of move in, almost any sound that was coming from the long grass and the creek itself, the running water, it quickly dissipates and it turns to almost that eerie silence. As you start to follow the tracks of the deer carcass, who's leading?
I'm guessing I am at that point, because I'm trying to drag the others with me out.
Okay. Who's middle? Who's behind?
I'll be last, I guess.
Okay. Okay. So as you get further in, and I suppose you probably it takes about maybe 5-minute walk to sort of start to get in into the thick of it, and what you notice is you can see that there is a dissected and decaying carcass of a deer entangled in the branches of one of the trees. and it's covered in a really viscous black fluid. Its head is also not on its body.
Can we see where the head is?
Yeah, so a few seconds of looking around, you notice that the head lies a few yards away from the base of the tree. Can you roll a spot hidden on a hard, please?
All of us.
Probably just Ed for now, because he's at the front. Okay.
Ooh, is that good or bad?
Okay.
Oh, it's very good.
Very, very good. So, as you get in, you kind of start to look up as you notice every now and again there's something dropping down, and as you look up, it appears that there's a real dark slime or some sort of discharge dropping down from the tree itself, and it kind of moves gently even when the air is kind of still.
Okay. Evelyn, Charles, what is that? So I'm pointing it out to you both, sort of noticing how strange and everything it is. Also, from what we've seen of the water and things, I'm kind of holding Evelyn back in a gentlemanly way so she doesn't get splashed with this stuff. I mean, Obadiah's slightly further behind, so I wouldn't have to stop him anyway.
Sure.
But it's just like, make sure you don't touch this. Looking around, does it look like that is that eating the deer essentially? Is that the same substance as what's on the deer?
It looks very similar, and as you're kind of looking around, looking for sources, and there's dripping down in different locations, and as you're kind of looking behind, in a moment of sheer panic, you can see almost as the trees start to close in behind Obadiah. And can you make a dexterity roll, Obadiah?
Most assuredly can. I can fail it too.
Okay, so there's almost like this loud moaning as this kind of tree is sort of creaking, and you notice that there are some tightness is wrapped suddenly around your legs as you become entangled in some of the vines, and you can hear similar movements throughout the woods.
Do I fall, or am I just like
You're more
entangled?
kind of locked in place, and it's very awkward. You think if you sort of move too much, you probably would fall, but more kind of vines are moving towards you quite quickly, and there's a sheer panic in your gut.
It appears I have been accosted by the trees. I would greatly appreciate the help of. And then I realized that I've got the shovel, and I dropped the wrench with the water, just kind of like away from myself.
Mm-hmm.
Pull out try and like take off the shovel, which I assume is on my back or something.
Okay.
And then just like start hacking at them.
Okay.
At that point, I've got the other shovel, so I would come round and try and hit the other one.
Okay. Let's go in dexterity order for this. So
75.
75. Yeah.
60.
60. Where's it gone?
I think I was 35.
35. Okay. And I just need to add one more.
Cthulhu.
And that is at... Okay, Charles, you are the first to act. What are you doing?
I'm going to try and free Obadiah's leg, use whacking the vine with the side of the shovel, the sharp end of the shovel.
Okay. Can you make an attack roll using kind of your strength? Where would it be?
Brawl?
It would, brawl sort of.
Okay. If I can find it, yeah. Fighting brawl, there we go. Have I lost the fight to a tree?
No,
Passed.
you have
Yay!
not. Okay. So doing it would be your damage. So I'm just going to put up the character sheet because I'm not familiar with your character sheet. So it would be. You don't have any extra
D3.
damage. Yeah, you don't have any extra damage bonus because of your build. So yeah, 1d3.
No worries. I'll tell you what, if I can hit the brawl button here, it'll do the D3 for us. We know I've already passed it, so we'll just count the D3.
Yeah, okay. And so you managed to start hacking at it, but it looks like these are reasonably thick, and it's pretty difficult to get through.
Okay, so I've whacked it as hard as I can. I'm guessing that would be my turn if this is a combat.
Yeah,
thing.
not moving at all, staying there.
Well, I'm kind of make sure that I'm in a position where I can see what's going on around, so I'm
Okay.
looking above and.
Okay, and because you were so tentative, other things are starting to move towards, mainly from topwards down. Okay, Obadiah.
As I said, I'm just gonna hack at the things at my feet.
Yeah. Okay.
Same.
So you're attempting to cut them off rather than get out?
I mean, I'd rather get out, but like I figured the probably first like it depends how tight are they around me.
Reasonably. So you think that with a strong enough pull, you might be able to slip your feet out? They haven't fully locked around yet.
Seeing that I have Charles's help to hack away at them, I am just going to try and pull my feet out then.
Okay. I'll let you roll with an extra dice because it's currently being specifically those are being attacked by Charles.
Sure. Strength roll.
Yes, please. So it's against this. Okay, so you don't manage to pull out. It's gripping onto you too tightly, and you can feel it start to almost rub against the back of your ankles, as it's quite tough.
I'm not enjoying this.
Okay.
Goddamn gardening. That's not my thing.
Okay, so the being itself, so. Okay, so it attempts to just grab onto you tighter and tighter. Okay, you don't feel that there's anything painful happening, but it is just slowly, essentially trying to wrap around you.
Okay.
Evelyn.
I guess I'll try and pick up the water that Obadiah dropped.
Okay.
I'm not sure how much action do we get in that turn.
So it's kind of like one movement, sort of one combat, really.
Okay. I would probably try and pick that up, and if I can, maybe splash a little bit of it, like open up the top and splash a little bit on maybe the vines to see if it does anything.
Okay.
Not all of it, just a little.
Sure. Just make a flat dex roll. Okay, so just because it wasn't an extreme fail, so you managed to pour it on. It doesn't really appear to do much, even though the white flecks go onto it, but they absorb into it.
Okay.
You notice that. Okay, Mr. Charles.
Don't you be splashing me, girl.
I'm kind of looking around. At this point, how thick are the vines?
They're quite ropey. They're probably maybe 2.5 inch in diameter.
So could I actually try and shoot it?
You could do, yeah.
Or in fact, could I be shouting over to Obadiah, "Give me your shotgun"? Or did you bring it?
That's in my coat.
Are you wearing your coat? I can't remember.
Yeah, I'm most assuredly wearing my coat.
So I kind of reach into where Obadiah says his shotgun is, pull it, and shoot the vine with it.
Okay. Yeah. So you're going to need to roll a firearms shotgun, and then the damage is on his.
Will the stats be pretty much the same as the revolver, and then I can just do his damage?
No, it's different training.
Um,
So you might not have trained in shotguns. That's the only issue.
I've trained in handguns.
Just use the handgun then.
It's a different skill set. So you've got 25 in shotguns.
Okay, let's give that a roll then.
Yeah. And you
That's not shooting me.
Wait, okay.
I'm successful.
Okay. And you can also tick that because you might level that up. So, Joe, have you got the damage on your?
It's depending on if you shot 1 or 2 barrels. It
would just be one.
4d6/1d6, so 4d6 damage.
4d6. Okay, let's see where the dice rolling app is, and let's get that in there. So
Just take
d6.
/roll 4d6.
Hang on, sorry. Done.
Okay. So a huge blast takes out both of the thing that's connecting. If you imagine the vines have gone round and sort of come off into like a trail, you manage to sever that enough that you can at least move free. If so, moving sort of shakes them off your feet, and you're sort of not held down by that. Okay, so what are you doing now, Obadiah? It's your turn.
So I'm not like wrapped up anymore, no?
No, you can essentially shake off the dead vines. Or the...
I shake off the dead vines. I step forwards and I step away from the things that are descending towards me.
Yeah.
I kind of hold out my hand to Charles and I'm like, thank you. I'll take that back now, sir.
I'm guessing it isn't an action to just give him it back.
No, I'll allow that. He'll take it from you.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm just like, give me that back, and I reload the shotgun.
Okay. Are you moving at all?
Yeah, away from the things that are dangling. So I guess further in, or is it whichever way is away from the things?
It's kind of coming from multi directions. Yeah, so it's kind of it's coming from. They're slowly coming from above. So all kind of encircling you. So which way would you like to move?
Is there a way out at the moment? Is there like can we get back to?
You could run back out the way you came. Or you can run deeper in. I suppose it's entirely that.
I don't think deeper in is the sensible choice here, by any like stretch of whatever. So I guess I just start to like try and move back out the way.
Okay.
Covering the other two with the shotgun.
Okay. Okay. So for the sake of this, then, can everyone just roll a dexterity?
I did strength like a retard, but I passed, I guess, anyway.
Okay. So as you start to run, you turn around and, narrowly dodging everything, Evelyn, you sort of move between, and almost instantly you sort of slam into the back of Obadiah as you notice that a larger vine has started to wrap itself around him, and as he's sort of trying to wriggle free, he is very much getting caught up in it. And Charles, you kind of see this happen as you're sort of lumberly sprinting behind them. So you've gotten further. You've gotten sort of further to the outside. You can see the exit, but Obadiah is clearly starting to get entangled up, and ever so slightly, it begins to lift him off his feet.
Okay. Who are we on now? Is it back to Obadiah?
I'll have that being go. So Evelyn.
All right. I can't really do very much, so I'm gonna look around. Maybe want to try and find if there's a central point at which this is coming from, like, or if it's just vines everywhere. Just basically trying to find something that would help us in any way.
Sure.
Because Like maybe something specific to shoot at, because me punching something is gonna do like no damage. So
Sure. So I'll let you do that. So essentially, it looks like it is coming from entirely the mass of woods itself. Sort of around. There's no specific point. It looks like all of the trees have been corrupted in some sort of way, and that's what's coming. Just for mechanics' sake, so each turn you can do a fight, a dodge, or a maneuver. So if you did want to do any sort of maneuver like you've just done, that's okay as well. But you can do physical things that aren't attacking in these rounds. So Charles.
I'm going to take out my handgun because obviously I did bring that and prep it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to move the best way I can towards the exit, or the exit, the way we came in. But I'm going to shoot the larger vine that's got Obadiah, because I realise that my own physical strength isn't enough to shift it.
Okay. Yeah. So make a handgun roll. How many rounds can you fire off?
I can only fire one.
Can you? Okay.
Yeah, it's
One
every
per three. Okay.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay.
Oh no, that's the damage as well, isn't it?
Yeah. So
nothing.
you can hear sort of noticing sort of above the creaks as being the only sound. There's suddenly this like large cacophony of sound as the handgun unloads, and sort of aiming, you just shoot wide past it. Unfortunately, missing this as it's thinner than the people you're used to shooting.
Yeah.
Obadiah.
Being lifted off the ground with it, I like having seen how well the shotgun worked before. I literally take the shotgun and point to like the bit that if I can I reach the bit that's like attached to me and bring
Sure.
me up?
Well, it's coming down in front of you like this, so you can just.
I'm just like.
Yeah. Okay.
Just roll to hit.
Yeah. What is a critical failure? This is over 95, isn't it? So I'll still allow that just because it'd be so ridiculous if you couldn't hit it at that range with a shotgun.
Okay.
So it doesn't let go of you, but it definitely sort of you split the vine and it kind of goes all sort of stringy, but it's still got hold of you. Can you roll a strength check against my strength check, please?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course I can.
Okay, so you actually managed to stop it from pulling you up any further. Whether it, sort of wriggling about is making it much more difficult, and it seems to have lost a small bit of strength from the damage it's already taken. But the resisting certainly helps. So I need to do Evelyn.
I guess I'll try and I don't know, pull away at the vines or something. May as well attempt something.
I'm guessing if. Oh no, go on. Sorry.
What do you mean by pull away?
Pull them apart, or try and use my strength to pull them away from Obadiah's chest.
Sort of like, okay, so sort of trying to physically untangling him. Yeah, okay. Make a strength check, please. And I need to make one too.
Behold my mighty strength.
Okay. Unfortunately, it looks like it's gripping too tight. It's quite difficult to get in between his between him and the roots itself. Okay, Charles.
Right. Seeing that there's two people hanging off this vine, essentially, because they're both sort of pulling on it, I'm guessing it's being pulled a little bit more taut. So I'm going to put the gun back in my pocket, grab the spade that obviously I've still got hold of, and just try and whack it where it's already shredded.
Yeah.
To see if I can, between that and the weight, it will just pull off.
Sure. Okay. So make a brawl check.
Okay. Fighting brawl. Nope.
No?
Nope.
Okay.
I've massively done nothing there.
Massive fails. Okay. It's just too difficult to to hit it, and you're not used to sort of wielding them like this. Obadiah.
I unload the second barrel.
Okay. I'll let that pass because it's just ridiculous. I'm only looking for a critical fail at this point.
Okay.
Yeah.
I am literally like putting the barrel against it, as it were.
That's
pulling the trigger.
That's exactly why. Yeah.
And then do I need to roll damage?
Yeah.
I guess I do.
4d6, yeah. Oh.
Okay, so you manage to split this vine and you fall only like half a foot to the floor. And are you doing anything else for the rest of your turn?
Trying to get the shit out of there.
Okay. So everyone sort of runs and just I want sort of like a dexterity check, but with advantage for everyone. So if you run,
is that the white one?
Yeah, although it's being a bit odd.
Okay, so can I just...
So as long as you get a
0.
A 1 or a 2, 0, 1, 0, 1, yeah. Or you can spend your luck.
I'm just going to spend 2 points of luck.
Okay. So running out, sort of as you hear kind of like the vine sort of slithering towards you on the way out, you manage to get back outside and sort of run past the dam, and it all suddenly stops. It doesn't seem to go beyond, but you can still hear the creaking as you can see the massive tentacles sort of moving, desperately sort of grabbing out or sort of reaching out, looking towards you. That black goo sort of dripping from places.
I do believe the devil is here.
This
place is cursed.
I knew it! I knew it!
Could everyone please make a sanity roll, please?
I mean, I can fail a sanity roll for you. Oh no, I'm fine.
Okay.
Nobody cares.
You two have succeeded on. You've succeeded. Okay. Evelyn, can you roll a D4? And 21, 24. You'll succeed. Charles, can you roll a D8 and Obadiah a D6 and take that away from your sanity permanently, please? Well, that's best of a bad scenario. so mildly.
I've been out with Batley. I don't care about this.
Get out, declare it's the devil, and be like, "Yup, it's the devil."
So as you come out sort of panting and almost this strange being, it's not enough to disturb you, but it's odd. I can't make sense of it. What's going on? And you sort of deep, heavy breathing as sort of the anxiety passes. And I suppose one thing, Joe, I'm going to mute you. Wait,
I'm just going to mute all of you.
Yeah, much better. Thank you. Muted?
2 seconds. 1 second. Good.
Yeah. Okay. So as you've run out, your heart is pounding and your ears are pounding, and I suppose as the kind of the panic and the adrenaline starts to go, the pounding in your ears, it still stays there. There's kind of this dull.
Is this
very similar to on the way in?
Yeah. So it's like it's throbbing from the earth, essentially. That's what we're.
Yeah. But it's also within you. If that makes sense.
Just the drumming that we heard when we first came here.
Yeah, this very deep tonal, just. Vroom, 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 vroom.
Is it stronger now, as if we're closer to the source of it?
It hasn't changed pace or tone or
Hmm.
anything like that or frequency. It's just very much there, almost as maybe if it's been here the entire time, but you never really noticed until sort of the pumping of blood in your ears sort of passed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I kind of turned around to everyone like, do you hear that too?
Yeah, I guess just the heartbeat.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. So,
Wait.
Obadiah, do you not hear or feel that?
Feel what?
The pounding, the drums, the heartbeat.
I mean, I feel my heartbeat. I just almost got killed by a forest.
This is enough for me today. I'm quite happy to go back to the farm and sleep.
I think, yeah. I mean, I'm trying to have a look. I mean, with my guy, he'd want to know more, but he wouldn't chuck himself back into a forest that's going to eat him.
Mhm.
Would rolling on occult might give me something extra about what the forest is or what it does?
I'll let you try.
Okay. So I'm kind of, as I'm doing this, I'm kind of looking around. Again, everything with me is sort of symbols and images. So I'm kind of looking at the trees, looking at everything else, see if there's anything vaguely sort of matching the symbols and shapes and geometry that would come with the cults that I kind of read
Sure.
about and know about.
Sure. Okay. So you don't necessarily see any symbols or anything that would make you think like that, but I suppose from your reading and your understanding, kind of trees very much represent life and growth, and this is clearly quite the opposite. It's death, and it's very, everything against what a tree as a symbol should be. You you got a hard roll, didn't you? So I'm just bearing in mind to think about whether you'd actually understand this.
If you want me to do a mythos roll, I could do. I was
Yeah,
expecting I'll pass it.
for any more, I'd like a mythos roll.
Well, I'll do the roll anyway because why not?
Believe, Charles, believe.
Well, I'm hoping for a critical success, and I find out that it is Cthulhu.
No, apart from those sort of symbols, you don't really know what it could be, but that's sort of all that is appearing to you at the moment.
Okay,
And, I think we're all fairly shocked and a bit freaked out.
Could I, just by looking, kind of get a feel for how dry the wood is? Does it seem like, do the trees seem quite dry, or because
No.
the weather's quite dry and quite hot?
Yeah, but the land itself doesn't seem to, especially within the woodland, doesn't seem like it's not
Dried
marsh.
out.
It's not marshy, but it's certainly not. The floor isn't crispy.
I can't go and get some fuel and set alight to this entire wood that almost just tried to kill me. Okay. I would not mind getting back to some kind of safety if that was entirely possible.
I completely agree. I think we need to get out of here as soon as possible. Go back to the farm and regroup, and then
I've got some
see.
questions for the Jarvis as well. If they know what time why was the dam was built, where it's being siphoned off to, do they use the water themselves, blah, blah, the usual stuff.
I kind of want to go back and consult with my various cult books and everything else to see if I can find anything that I know about that could do this.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
we need to do that then.
What route are you taking?
Is the creek itself after the dam's dry, right?
Yes.
So again, by going down there, are we actually going into the woods where we're going to all be eaten by the trees, or could we use that as a bit of a shortcut to get to town?
It's very close for comfort.
Okay, then no. Go back the way we came.
I mean, you by all means walk down that dry creek, but I am most assuredly not taking even the closest line that we had to those trees. I will be giving it a wild berth.
I agree. Shall we go past the campsite? I know you were eyeing up the wheels for your own vehicle, Obadiah.
That would be most kind if we could quickly stop there. Do you still have that wrench, Evelyn?
I don't have it. You have it.
No, it was attached to the
you have it
ball
'cause
still.
you're pouring the water on the vines.
I thought you took the wrench off.
I did not. No, I left it all attached.
Then yes, I have the bottle.
In that case, I think we should go and try and get some wheels and leave Blackwater Creek forever. I mean, solve this mystery.
Yeah, sounds good.
So
Okay.
how
So-
much petrol do you think they have in the town? Oh, sorry, gasoline. We're in America. You don't understand me.
Imagine there is basically no gasoline here whatsoever. I imagine even the farm vehicles are mostly powered by horses.
As you'd gone through the town earlier, you noticed there was not a gas station.
Okay.
Most certainly not enough to burn down a whole wood.
Or the car.
Well, this is true. Let's get the things that we need to get. Let's get back to relative safely with the Garveys, or Jarvis, should I say, and we can ask them the questions. We can do our research there.
That sounds good to me.
So it takes you about 4 hours to go all the way back. I take it you're going all the way round in the original route. And by this point, it's coming up to sort of 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, and the sun is definitely setting. And I suppose as you're going through the town, there's an eeriness to it. There's a feeling of being watched. There's a feeling of every now and again you see kind of the netting and the curtains let go and go back. You notice that there are sort of fire torches sort of lighting up the road, and there's a general uneasiness as you're walking through it. But you manage to get back to the Jarvie farm without hassle, without any issues. You're exhausted. It's been a long day of physical exertion. It's been a long day of walking, and mentally it's been very, very straining. It's been very, very difficult. It looks as though as you come up to the farm that the Jarvies are indeed in, and there's lights on within the house.
I quit to the other two people, to Evelyn and Charles. I've heard of people hugging trees, but never the trees hugging the people. I would like to put that behind me and never think of it again. That was a most shaking, soul-shaking experience.
I'm very glad you're still with us, Obadiah, but I feel that we need to learn what's going on here to overcome. I believe after speaking with the Garveys, I'm going to retire to my books and see if I can find out anything else that might help us with this evil that seems to have developed in Blackwater Creek.
By all means, you do that. I'm going to attend to Julieta, and I wander over. Presumably, we stopped to take off the two of the wheels from the Model T.
Okay, is that are you doing that?
Yeah, I figured that's why we were going back via the campsite to take off the two wheels and so I'd be carrying those through town if that's
Sure.
okay.
Okay, so then it's probably
I'd
closer
be carrying
to
one as well, but yeah.
yeah. So it's probably closer to 9 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'll allow that. So the Jarvies are reasonably happy to see you. Come in, boys. And they sort of welcome you to sort of have some, you know, Mrs. Jarvie's quite happy to brew up a pot of tea, and sort of provide you with some cold supper of leftovers that they have, not necessarily expecting you to have come back that evening, but more than welcome to have you stay again. The body of old Pete is no longer in the living room. It would appear that he's been moved, and yeah, you mentioned, Charles, that you were going upstairs to study when you got the
Yeah,
chance.
I make my excuses. I kind of go up to the rooms wherever I've put my belongings.
Yeah.
So it might be that they're on the boxes on the car, lock boxes there. So I've gone and got them,
Okay.
and I've gone back up to research to see if there's anything in the
Sure.
various books I've brought with me that link in with it.
Sure. And as you're kind of thumbing about, sort of taking your time, and you get into one of the books that you've enjoyed reading before, you kind of have a moment of realization of going, I got another book today, and one that you haven't had a look at. So you pull it to the side and sort of look at the cover, and it's a hardbound leather book with kind of a rubyish kind of leather around it. And as you start to read,
From Indian Tribes of the Northeast by Nathaniel Chapman. Of all the peoples of the Miskatonic Valley, the most mysterious and feared was the Seacook tribe, known to the white settlers as the Children of the Black Earth. They have not been seen since colonial days, but stories of them still live on in folklore. While some of the stories of the Seacook no doubt have their basis in fact, many have doubtless been embellished by the passage of time or tainted by native superstition. The assertion that the tribe would conduct raids and take captives who they would then offer up as sacrifices to their great spirits is richly plausible. While human sacrifice among the Indian people is a rarity, the evil reputation and reported depravity of the Seacook was the cause of their shunning by all neighbouring tribes, and these tales of murder simply form part of this tapestry. Their ferocity and bloodlust is also the most likely route for the reputation of their warriors as never dying on the battlefield, and being immune to all mortal weapons. Where their legend becomes pure fancy is in the detail of the tribe being ruled by an undying council of elders, who were never seen outside of their sacred cave. The elders were spoken of as wise and terrible, with great magic and gifts of healing. Similarly fantastic is the description of the tribe as brothers to snakes and to the vermin of the field, unquote. No stories or legends survive to explain the disappearance of the tribe, but the most likely explanations remain that they are either exterminated by either their neighbours or colonial settlers, or that exposure to civilizing influences led to their acceptance and absorption into the larger tribes of the valley.
So, yeah, having read that, the thing that goes through my mind is that the cave is probably the key to this. It's the place we didn't see, but I'm guessing that kind of a lot of the things that we've experienced today link into those legends that I've just been reading. And the idea of the Black Earth, even down to the idea that when we were digging, it was the black bones, everything else that way around. Kind of, I'm not pretending that I have this amazing gift and I know what's going on, but there seems to be a link to me.
Sure.
So I go down, and I kind of grab Obadiah and Evelyn and show them the book. So they've heard the extract that we just heard. I say, we need to get to the cave first thing in the morning. So I believe we're going to find a lot of answers there. I believe that this is the American tribe that was mentioned. It seems that that's what Henry believed was here. So I think that these stories, the things that we need to take into consideration as we make our next plans.
I mean, I won't lie. I don't believe I am necessarily all in on finding these answers of yours anymore. I almost died today.
But think of the other people that might if we don't.
I will do it for Henry and Abigail, I suppose.
I mean, the cave is the only part we didn't really see today, so yeah, it makes sense. We'll clear everything off, and if we don't get any answers in the cave, then I think we're gonna have some real problems.
Okay.
So, Evelyn, did you get to speak to the Garveys? Have you asked them your questions?
Not
Not
yet.
yet. I was
I
just
will
drinking tea.
momentarily.
I'm relaxing.
Okay.
And I'd very, very much like to sit in on that.
Okay.
Cool.
Always.
So,
Oh, yeah.
Evelyn, you're having tea. Who else is having tea?
No.
That's a very scary question, but yes, I will be having tea.
Okay.
I think I would have probably asked if I could have some coffee, but
Okay. So, you're drinking coffee. You're having tea. Are you having anything to drink at all tonight, Mr. Charles?
Yeah, I'd take tea and pretend my best that it was as good as British standard.
Okay. Please, could everyone make a Constitution roll?
Is it that bad? Yeah, these aren't Yorkshire tea bags.
Okay. So the coffee was reasonably nice, and Evelyn, I suppose, as far as you're concerned, the tea is quite nice actually. It's got a slight twang of a brand that you're not used to. As you're drinking the tea, Charles, you notice it's definitely something that you're not used to. However, it has a very nice taste to it. It's there's kind of like a warmth, and it's not just the tea warmth that you get in your belly because of your tiredness and you're enjoying it. There's a large general sort of, you feel quite invigorated, you feel quite good. And I suppose, could you roll a luck roll?
Unlucky.
And could you roll a d6, please?
Man, am I going mad again?
Okay, so any kind of minor scrapes through walking through, any kind of grass irritation that you notice from the day has seemingly gone quite quickly.
I'm guessing that I'm kind of sinking into myself a little bit with that sort of glowy feeling, and I'm kind of, I'm quite enjoying that and sitting back, and it's nice to feel like I'm unwinding, because I'm guessing we all three of us are like coiled springs at the minute because of what we've seen and done, and I kind of feel that slip away from me a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, so is there anything, I'm just thinking about time. So before we have the conversation with the Jarvies, I'll probably call it for tonight. And what we will do is we will level up.